the charge to make the 2024 Broker Carrier Summit possible, and we are so excited to have their support. In case you haven't heard, TAFS offers much more than freight factoring. It provides a comprehensive support system for trucking companies of all sizes, specializing in fast and efficient invoice factoring with the ability to pay carriers in as little as 1 hour. And TAFS services go well beyond factoring, offering a fuel card that unlocks major fuel discounts, flexible business loans that are designed to cater to the distinct needs of a carrier's operations, a dedicated, responsive client experience team, and much more. Black Box Logistics is a 3PL freight brokerage based out of Birmingham, Alabama. Black Box Logistics was formed in 2020 by 3 friends, Logan Dyer, William Graves, and Will Hopkins, in a basement office with the goal of bringing transparency around the clock communication and hassle-free customer experience to the table. Multi-service fuel card, the industry's first fuel card, was created by an over-the-road truck driver in 1978 to offer a safe, simple, and cost-effective way to handle fuel and trucking expenses. Initially, it addressed safety concerns of carrying cash on the road. Today, it combats advanced fraud with best-in-class technical and personal support. WireB is an AI-powered call automation platform built for freight brokers, designed to screen every inbound call in real time, block spoofing, phishing, and double brokering scams, verify compliance through integrations with FMCSA, Highway, and My Carrier Portal, and automatically connect brokers with qualified, vetted carriers, all before a human ever picks up the phone. Sales-CRM is built for freight broker and agent sales teams. Manage your shipper prospecting and follow-ups. Organize your carriers in the lanes they run. HD Ships is a leading logistics provider specializing in sustainable and tech-driven freight solutions. With hubs in Reno, Phoenix, and London, we deliver comprehensive services, including full truckload, expedited cross-border, and intermodal freight. Leveraging proprietary technology, we offer 24/7 tracking, real-time visibility, and advanced automation to ensure safe, compliant, and efficient transportation. Our commitment to sustainability enables clients to offset emissions through carbon credits, aligning logistics with environmental goals. At HD Ships, we prioritize transparency, reliability, and exceptional customer service, empowering clients to achieve seamless, sustainable logistics solutions worldwide.
Happy Friday.
Matt Dog, happy Friday. How are you?
Doing good. You? It's cool to do a Friday show. We haven't done we used to do Fridays all the time, but I feel like lately it's been Wednesday or Thursday. So it's cool to do.
I always prefer Fridays, and it's good to have you back in the States.
Yeah, it's kind of from like a dingy hotel here, but it's good to be back. really pumped about today's episode too. It's fun. We've had a lot of really cool guests, but a lot of our guests have done other podcasts. So it's kind of cool to have somebody who has not done a podcast before and super successful person. So it should be fun.
Yeah, no, 100% excited to dive into it. I don't know much about his story, but just looking from the outside, it's really cool to watch somebody grow up in a company. He came in as a logistics coordinator in 2015. Now he's the CEO in 2025. So it'll be neat to dive into that, unpack it, and see what he's learned along the way.
Yeah, 100%. Well, shout out to our sponsors, Multi-Service Fuel Card, been around since 1978. They have cards for brokers. Jessica, Patricia are great. We've had Jamie on, one of the drivers who uses their fuel card, loves it. Great company. YRB, I'll let Will talk about this. We had them on our show the other week. Also fantastic company.
Yeah, YRB is our newest sponsor. Their mission is to fight fraud through phone calls. Their main use case is blocking scammers before they can get through your phone system. So it's saving you a lot of time on the phone, also making sure you get good, qualified, vetted carriers. It's a cause that we can all get behind, right? Whether you're a carrier, broker, or shipper, it's a cool thing. There's a lot of products that may be aligned for one side of the industry, not the other. YRB is one of those products that's got an actual use case in the AI world, which is very buzzy lately. That's making a real impact. So we're pumped to have them on board. And yeah, we had them on the show last week. So if you guys are interested, check that out or go to yrb.com.
100%. Black Box, we can skip that.
Black Box is actually named the People's Choice 3PL like 30 minutes ago on my LinkedIn page. So
self-proclaimed. Just kidding. Black Box is Will's company in Alabama. If you're down in Alabama looking for work, HG Ships. If you want to talk about being an agent, I'd love to talk to you. Sales Dash, they're the OG sponsor of the show. Also a Tennessee-based company, freight-specific CRM. It's been cool to see Josh grow over the last year or two. I mean, we were just talking to him the other day, and they're getting more and more brokerages working with them. They're the only freight-specific CRM out there I know. We both met Josh in person. Fantastic guy. He's a sales rep, Drew, as well.
Yeah, the People's Choice 3PL Black Box uses Sales Dash, and we love it. And then we've got our banner sponsor, TAFs. Great factoring company, top 10, very big, but they've got that personal touch. They put out a lot of good educational content. Their website, great guys over there. Hit up Ryan, Rob, if you're interested in factoring, brokers, carriers, what have you. And they're very involved in BCS and things of that nature. So great company to be aligned with.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, yeah. So we're pumped to have Hunter, CEO, KCH Transportation, on today. A cool thing about this podcast, so it's his first podcast. So also, we announced the show today, and usually a lot of times we'll have a leader of the company on the podcast and we'll advertise it, and it doesn't get a ton of attention from their company, right? But Hunter and KCH, we put it out today, and there's people sharing it left and right from all over. So that speaks to how they see him, and it shows that there's a lot of respect. So we're very excited to have him on and unpack his story. So go ahead and bring him on stage. Hunter, hey, how are you doing?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Happy Friday.
People's Choice.
Yeah, people's choice. They're saying, hey, they gave KCH second. So
Hey, we'll take it.
Yeah, man, it could be worse.
How you guys doing?
Good, man. I'm getting through the week, and Matt's a traveling man over here. Just made it back to the States, streaming from it could be in worse places in Miami, Florida, from my understanding.
I've been keeping up with them a little bit. Columbia, Florida. There's worse places to be. You're from Minnesota, right?
Yeah, Minnesota in the winter isn't fun. Miami's not as fun in June, but definitely
it's
fun
golf
in the winter.
season in Minnesota, right?
Yeah, it's great in Minnesota. That's why I wanted to get back to the Midwest. It's great in the Midwest right now.
Yeah.
Golf and not as nice as Tennessee, but are you born?
It's been raining a lot here, so I mean I think we had a record amount of rain in May. I'm sure. Well, you're in Birmingham, right?
Yeah. We've had some rain lately.
Ton of rain. So.
Yeah. I've been doing I'm trying to get some landscaping done. It's just pushed back week after week because of the rain. But I don't know, man. So the rain, it's my favorite weather, thunderstorms, all that good stuff. So, I enjoy it. I'd move to Seattle if I could. No, I wouldn't. Seattle. You know what I'm saying? I like the rain.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, man, we appreciate you taking the time to join the podcast, and we're honored that we're your first podcast. I did kind of a quick intro for you, but for those of you listening out there that don't know Hunter, do you mind just kind of introducing yourself and what you're doing, KCH, all that good stuff?
Yeah. First off, I appreciate you guys having me. Definitely not something I do. I think if you go look at my LinkedIn, I don't even know the last time I've posted. I've never done a podcast. So, a little bit out of my comfort zone, but I felt like, if I'm going to come on a podcast, I'm going to shoot it with the boys. So I appreciate you guys having me on. My story is that I went to the University of Tennessee, Chattanooga. I've always been, I think just growing up, I've always been into starting my own business. I don't know, like middle school, high school, just like mowing lawns, like just wanting to do my own thing. I've always been intrigued by the entrepreneurship side of the business. I had two uncles that owned their own business. My dad runs an IT company, so I kind of grew up in that environment as well. So maybe that played a part. So I went to school UTC for entrepreneurship. Graduating, I kind of wanted to work for my dad. It was like something that I guess I just always wanted to work for him. And thank God I did not do that. But he said I was not allowed to work for him unless I had sales experience. And so Chattanooga, obviously, I think everybody probably watching this or anybody that's going to listen would know that Chattanooga, from just the logistics, like Chattanooga is a huge logistics hub. And I did not know anything about, logistics going through college. It wasn't part of my game plan. It was just to go get sales experience. And having that entrepreneurship background, I went to interview with a lot of big companies like Coyote, US Express, and then I found little old KCH, and there was about six guys that were just getting started. I think it had been spun off a little bit of Access America, and I knew somebody over there, and I was very intrigued by being able to kind of work at a company where there's very few, and it's kind of a do or die, just entrepreneurship mentality. And fortunately, they welcomed me like the only person that didn't have any experience whatsoever. So I started there in 2015, right out of college. I graduated in 2015. So this is my first job. And most people don't know that this happened, but I started in August of 2015. And in October of 2015, I was let go. I was laid off.
Yeah.
So I was
great. That's the CEO.
Most people at KCH don't even know this. So I was let go, and I was an ops rep when I got brought on. So they had a sales guy, and there was two ops guys, and it just didn't work out. Like they were just trying new things, trying to get it cranked up, trying to figure out what would work, what wouldn't work. And unfortunately, I was just the guy that it didn't work out for. So I was let go in October. And I don't know, I don't know really what happened, but like 2 weeks later, the CEO called me and was like, "Oh, we made a mistake. We want you to come back." So it was very random. It was a lot of emotions because it was like my first job out of college. It's like, man, damn, this is how it goes. Like, like I don't even like, this is how the world is. So, all right. So I came back, and in the conversations of coming back, I was like, listen, I want to come back as a cradle to grave. I need to get the sales experience under my belt. If you're going to let me go next time, it's going to be on my watch, not yours. So I came back January 2016. I was at the Christmas party in December. It was a wild, like 3-4 months of just like in and out. But I loved that there was only 6 dudes. I was falling in love with logistics in general. You could wear what you want. Like that was, my dad wears a suit and tie to work every day. It's like, I learned quickly that's not what I wanted. So started back January of 2016 as a cradle to grave broker. Fell in love with the game, fell in love with everything about it. Just like the day in, day out hustle, just like, again, wearing what you want, the entrepreneurial experience of like just being able to run my own business. And I guess I was good at it. And then 2018, so I'd met my wife in college, and 2018, she's deciding she's going back to Nashville. And the CEO at the time had caught wind that I was going to move back, or I was going to move to Nashville. And he asked me if I wanted to work from home or start a branch up, which kudos to him and like much respect for him for even allowing, like, I guess I was 24 or 25 at the time, to like start up an office and bet on me. So 2018, I moved to Nashville and started our Nashville office. It was our second office at the time. And got that cranked up. I remember sitting there day one and just being like, what did I sign up for? Like, this is like scary. Like, this is like do or die. It's like either I'm going to be successful and like my ultimate goal was to get back to Chattanooga. That was where headquarters was, or I'm going to fail and I'm going to learn. But this is what I want. But it was scary. Don't get me wrong. And that was 2018. And then like I wasn't there 15 months. I got asked to come back and basically run the operations for KCH. So we moved back at the end of 2019. And I've been pretty much overseeing the day-to-day operations since the end of 2019. Obviously, I came back December of 2019, then COVID started. So that was a pretty fun time to just kind of navigate like running a company from a day-to-day operations standpoint during COVID. I think, Will, you started Black Box in 2020. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
Yeah,
but
you're right.
anyways, it was a wild time to do it. But, I was doing that, running the day-to-day operations up until 2025 when I became the CEO. But pretty much been involved in running KCH's day-to-day operations for quite some time. I think when I got it's funny because I would interview people in like 23, 24, and it's like, because again, titles, and I'm not a very title-driven guy, although I'm the CEO, but like, I guess people didn't really know what I did here. And then I would interview them and they're, oh shit, you're like running the operations. Like you're running KCH here for the most part. Like I worked hand in hand with the CEO. I was his right-hand man for a while. But then I got the title and then it's like, I'm not really doing too much different than what I was doing from 2019 to now. A little bit different, but not too much. But it's been a wild ride and it's been fun. And I just love the game, man. So.
Yeah.
How was that experience being 24, 25 when you went to Nashville and going from an individual rep to, creating an office, hiring people, dealing with, the whole operations? I mean, maybe just talk a little bit about that. Maybe, I don't know, some lessons or some stories, or it had to be a cool, time point. Scary, but cool.
Yeah, definitely scary. When I moved there again in 2018, I had hired a guy I knew. He had moved there for his wife too. And I was like, hey, I'm coming. And he was in logistics as well. I was like, I'm coming to Nashville and you're going to be my first hire. Like you don't have an option. Like you're coming over. And just get it crank started up. Like, man, I love that hustle. Like I love that like I love coming in and almost being like do or die, like all chips on the table kind of mentality. But definitely very stressful. My wife is, God bless her, probably the only reason I'm still alive to this day. Like she definitely kept me aligned when I would get out of touch with whatever was going on. But it was an awesome experience. Like I remember leaving Nashville and coming back to chat and just like bawling, crying, like just being like, wow, I can't believe like what we built there and like moving back. And there, I mean, you're talking about like when I left, there was only 10 people, but it was just so important to me and it was so fun. And like those times I cherish so much, but just that do or die mentality. And then, yeah, it's a surreal experience. Sometimes even now, even moving back, and at the time of before 2020, we had, or 21, I guess, we had, 40 people, 45 people. And then 21 hit. And again, Will, Matt, you both probably know this, but 21, 22 it was booming for everybody in logistics, right? And we went from 40 people to 400. So it was a whole different experience. It was very, it was humbling. It was an eye-opening experience, and it was fun, but yeah, very stressful. But yeah, I mean, and again, like sometimes I'm 32 years old. It's like, I tell people sometimes it's like, just don't look at sometimes, and I don't know if this is wrong or right. So I'm not a politically correct guy if you haven't caught on, but I don't look at myself as a CEO a lot of the times. It's just like I'm just a cradle to grave broker. Like in the day to day, I just love the game so much, and I'm in it with the boys and the gals of the industry, yeah, I mean, but it does create and then I'm like slap myself back in reality, and I'm like, okay, I'm overseeing a pretty large company. Like I need to make sure like we're taking care of the house, like we're taking care of the people, and floating that line of being in it with them, but making sure we're being very, very responsible. So, but I mean, Nashville was an amazing experience and something I'll cherish forever.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. What you're describing, that is my experience, right? So I'm the same way. I started cradle to grave, fell in love with it, and then we left, myself and my two partners, to go start this company. It was, I mean, early on, it's like, what do we sign up for? Like I left because I'm a good operator. I'm a good cradle to grave broker. Like I'm very good at that. Then we start hiring people. Things like, man, there's a good story. Well, it's not a good story. It's good now, but our first real office, which we started in a basement, hired one of my best friends, and then my partner's brother, and then we started hiring people we didn't know. We're like, well, they can't show up to the house to work. It's getting weird. Neighbors are asking what we're doing. So we get in an office, but speaking of the rain, it flooded the office, and everybody's trying to book loads, and like, who do we call? What do we do? Like small company, bootstrapped, young, same thing, man. I'm 22 at the time. And it's like this acceleration for personal growth because there's nobody, man, for my whole life. It's like I always had somebody like turn to that's like above me, and I look around and it's like, shit, like we got to figure it out. Then we figured it out in like that chaos. I mean, a lot of people will talk about it, starting something. They love it, back when it was like early on, just kind of going through, and then it gets to a point, and I don't want to put words into your mouth, but for me and for us, it's like, yes, like I love that, the day-to-day cradle to grave broker, and I still have my book and an ops team. I have to separate, and there has to be systems, SOPs, and structure, which I hate. I mean, it's very good for us scaling, right? But like I'm that guy that wants to like go, just kind of like chaotic. But the skills have to change as you grow and that the company evolves. And again, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but that was my experience, and it sounded similar to what you're describing.
It's spot on, man. I read your book. I was like, I told my wife, I'm like, I feel like I wrote the book. Not that we have like the same exact experiences. I think they're a little bit different, but like the feelings of like growing within the company from the ground up, and chasing something that you think is going to fulfill you and it doesn't fulfill you, and just like all the lessons within everything. And also, I am fairly young, and like some of these guys and gals, like I hired them as like my direct report to as the come up was going, and things changed. Like I'm really good friends with them, and then I'm like, oh, we gotta separate this. Like I gotta be able to be like, hey, this is work. There's boundaries, right? So that's a pretty difficult thing to do, but it's been an amazing journey, and I've learned so much. I feel like I've learned more in the past couple of years than I've learned in a lifetime, and I've enjoyed every second. But yeah, it's crazy to go. Like I feel like I blinked from 7, just Nashville to here, 7 report tos to there's 400, people, and just being like, well, what is going on? But it's an amazing experience.
I want to unpack. I want to hear your experience on this, what we just alluded to. So you're hiring these people, you get pretty close to them, and then you guys grow, and you're talking about these boundaries. That's something I'm like genuinely want your inside experience. Is something I struggle with because again, Birmingham company, our first like 10 hires, like my friends I grew up with. My dad worked here at one point. Didn't work out, but so like that's something that I've really struggled with is kind of like separating that. So I'm curious your experience with that is now you're the CEO, but also like self-proclaimed like one of the guys like. Cradle to grave broker.
Yeah. Well, my brother works here, so I mean,
he shared the post.
My brother's here. I can see him when I'm talking to you guys. Like he's here. I've learned to like split it, and I think anybody that you talk to would understand that I'm very business oriented, and I can like. I don't want to come across anyway on this podcast, but I can like lay into somebody and then I can just like go have a beer with them after work and like separate the two. But a few things happen. It's just like kids take up a lot of my time after work. So it kind of separates the two in there. Yeah. And honestly, like, just, I didn't learn 21, 22, all the successes that came with that. There was a lot of humbling experiences for me that happened in 23. I did feel like I had to go out, I traveled a lot. We had 7 branches. I would travel so much. And like, you go out with everybody. That's how I connect. Like, I have to get out of the office. I have to get out of the day to day. And I would tell myself and my wife, like, this is how I connect with everybody. This is how we grow the company. This is how I get the relationship. But in reality, that's not necessarily what was happening. It was me actually just making myself comfortable with growing a relationship with them. And so I had a realization, just like going 23 was a tough year. I think maybe everybody in logistics, I don't think I'm sharing anything that everybody doesn't already know. And that was a very humbling thing of like, up from 2015 to 2022, it was just up, 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 up. Like for me, for KCH in general, you can't tell me anything. Like I'm not wrong. Like, and then 23 hit, and there's a lot of things you start reflecting on. Like, man, that was a very poor decision, and you're responsible for a lot more than you're given. You're a lot more responsible for what you think you're responsible for, like in your mind. Like you got to be much more careful. You got to be, what do you want? Like I'm talking to myself every day, probably like you are, Will. And 23 was just like, okay, this is. I gotta get a lot of things in order if I want to be who I want to be, and I want to take this company where I want to take it. The brokerage world in general, at least in Chattanooga, because it's small yet big. For logistics is big yet small, at least here. And I hear all the stories, and I wanted KCH to be a company that like not only employees like wanted to be at, but their like families wanted to be here. Like they respected that their their husband or wife worked here. And for brokerages, it's like that's not necessarily always the case. And this is new. This is like over a 2-year, just like definitely thinking through all this. But again, 23, just from the humbling experience of what that being the down year, if you will, of 2015 to 2022 being up and 23 being down, that brought a lot of self-reflection for me and who I wanted to be, not only here for leading people, but leading like my family. I have kids, and who they want me to be. And so, yeah, I mean, it kind of changed me overall. And I always tell people now, it's like, and definitely my leadership group is like, what do you want from me as a leader, right? And it's like, I want to make sure that you're not only developing them within these walls, like you're developing them outside these walls. Because in my experience, when I have my outside walls like connected, like the inside of these walls is much better, like for me. And I think that plays for a lot of people. Again, I read your book, so yeah. I feel like there's a lot of connections there. But I definitely agree with that. Like, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, but I just feel like even in 2016 as a broker, like I'm right out of college. I started making money. Like I'm no different than most college people, just having fun. And my wife probably got my life in order. In a sense of like, okay, take a step back, Hunter. Like, what do you want? You want to just party your way through like KCH and it just be like a stepping stone, or like, there's only a few people here. We could take this much more serious. This could be a thing. And I think just having my personal life in order really played into that of me being successful. I don't necessarily know if I would have been successful. I told her I was going to say this on the pod, and she was like, God, don't say that. But like, I do put a lot of credit on her for that. And I mean, my God, what she's dealt with me is like, it's bad. Let's just put it that way. I mean, I remember being in Nashville and being at dinner with her, and she'd be like, you're not even present. Like, you're not even here. You're just like, and I care a lot about KCH. I care a lot about the people that work here, and I take a lot of responsibility with that. But like getting just everything in order. And again, this is like a 2-year. I've been here 10, but I've learned a lot in 2. Just getting all that in order. So I think just knowing who I want to be, not only inside these walls, but outside these walls, helps kind of my relationships and the boundaries within the walls, right? It's tough. Don't get me wrong. I still got that inner like, hey, let's go have some fun. I want to be with the boys, but there's boundaries.
How do you balance that? You hear that topic on LinkedIn all the time, and kind of balance. And it's got to be difficult because you went from an individual, producer to running and in charge of 400 people, and obviously logistics is a 24/7 business. But then having a wife and kids, I mean, it's got to be challenging.
Yeah, the first kid was a culture shock to me. I won't, but don't get me wrong. That first year was like, what did I sign up? Like, what is this? Like, I can't work in here. There was a lot of learning there, but when we had the second kid and as he grew, like, man, having kids like is life changing in itself. Like just it changes who you are, like who I want to be for them. So I think I'll give my kids a lot of credit to who just changing me as well. But yeah, I mean, it's hard decisions. Don't get me wrong. This doesn't come natural every single day. It's like a Friday and, everybody, like we sit really close to a hotel, right? It's called the Moxie. A lot of people are probably familiar with that, but a lot of people go over there at 5 or a Goodfellas that's below us. It's like, do I want to go have a beer with everybody and just like relax and like kick it with everybody and talk? Sometimes, yeah, like it's a decision, but like ultimately, and it comes over time. Like my priorities changed and making sure that, like who I want to be and again, where I want to go, align with as many decisions as I can make on a day to day. Again, not easy all the time, but that's how I go about it. And I'm probably in my head all day, like, do I want to do this? Is this the right decision? Is this the wrong? Is this the fun one or is this the right one? And I think I have a healthy relationship with my wife and enough to be like, hey, I gotta have like a golf outing. I gotta like get out of the realm of work and family and like just have a me time. And she gives me that. And I think that's very, very important as well. Like just communication. I think communication could solve like 99% of every problem, everything. So.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I think, I mean, what you're describing, like the balancing act in itself, I'm always skeptical of anybody. I like the way that you were pretty candid about it, right? You're still figuring it out. This is what you're attempting to do. I'm always skeptical of anybody that kind of sits there and it's like, yeah, I got it all figured out, right? Because I really don't think anybody does. I think that's a human experience, more so just doing the best you can, learning from your history and trying to become, right? So and then so my experience with the which I don't have as much going on as you. Company's much larger. You've got kids. But when I feel overwhelmed with working all this stuff, it kind of goes back to what you referenced earlier. When things are good outside the walls, they're better inside the walls. There's a Seneca quote I really like: "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." So when things are good for me outside the walls, even kill, issues come up, and it's solution based. Okay, like what do we need to do to fix this, get it right? When things aren't good, something bad happens, I'm like, holy shit, we're going under, guys. Like this is bad. I'm over there just hollering, just know nothing that's productive for anybody. And my problems compound because the problem in itself is not that bad, but then what I've made of it is I've doubled, tripled the problem. My problems are stacking up because I'm not executing because I'm so so my experience has been, if I'm good outside these walls, I'm much better inside these walls. And going back to, you mentioned like being at dinner with your wife and like not being present. There's been times where I've been so hyper focused on building Black Box and man, I had this lie to myself and others. I'm like, man, this is what it takes. Like nobody gets it. Like if I'm going to be who I need to be, and like this company is going to become what I want it to become, like I have to be obsessed. Like this is the trade-off for the success I want. Like you just wouldn't get it. And then in hindsight, now that I've kind of come back around the other side of it, like I look at myself and I don't have it all figured out, but it's like, what the fuck was I talking about? Like, cause I'm so into it that it's counterproductive because like I'm so just hyper fixated and overworked and stressed out. People are walking on eggshells and like it's just no good. So yeah, I think we align a lot on philosophy for some stuff. And yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, like my wife has always been like, it's never going to be enough for you. You're going to hit this like goalpost and you're going to move the goalpost and like it's always going to move. And I have a healthy understanding with myself now about that. And I do agree. Like I again, it's a battle. Like I'm not a settler. Like I'm always moving. I always want to move the company forward. I want to do it for the company in general, like the logo. Like I want to make sure like it's a good company that people work for and they can have a healthy living and all that. But yeah, I mean, I'm very much ingrained in the game. And sometimes just having that healthy balance of like checking in with myself and being like, hey man, I didn't wake up this week, like to work out. Like I work out in the mornings. Like I didn't wake up, like I'm stressed out. What's stressing me out? Just calm down, like, and try to stay very even kill. Like used to be like Nashville was like do or die for me. So it was very all in. Now it's like, okay, just try to be as even kill as possible. There's a lot of chaos in this game to you. It's like things can go, you can hear so many bad things that have a bad day, have a load stolen, have this, that, and the other happen and just get out of whack. And it's just like, just stay very even kill. Cause then I can also have a big win from a customer and just try not to get too like high or low, just kind of stay very even kill. It's not that I don't want to celebrate the wins, but I also don't want to just like go so low that everybody's like freaking out. Just like, just be calm. And also like, I think I'm happy with just like the job. Like I like the brokerage game. Like I just love it. It's like, I have an understanding of that now. Like I chased a lot of things before. And again, this isn't over the course of the whole 10 years I've experienced this. Like this is a new-ish thing for me, but I just love the game. Like I just love the day-to-day. I love that so many people, like all three of us, like we're at different companies and there's so much that successful people in this and everybody can eat. And I love that. I love that people can show up and wear pretty much what they want, not exactly everything that they want, but for the most part. And I just love the game, and I have a healthy balance with that now. And like the success, I feel like it just follows that because now I have a healthy understanding of just loving it instead of chasing something that's making us all worse, making me worse in and out of here. So
yeah. And this is a freight podcast, right? So I don't want to go too.
Yeah. Sorry, we're going on a spill.
No, you're good. I was doing that as a caveat for what I'm about to go into. What you just said was great. So if and when we're chasing things like the human psychology, or if you want to call it, I don't know if it's physiology, but so like the actual chase of that goalpost is what makes us feel good. It's not the accomplishment. So oftentimes, at least it's been my experience, right? So it was a moving goalpost, right? Maybe it's like our first 10 hires and like 20 or our first 20 million revenue, whatever it is. It's that chase that gives you like the dopamine hits that like feels good that you're going after, and you get so up and then you finally hit it and you're like, man, it's not like it didn't give me the result that I expected, like it didn't like fix me, like make me feel good where like I can relax. Now I just got to like double it, triple it. And it's kind of like the hand, it's just, you're just going to be in a constant going, man. And I don't want to, I'm kind of all over the place. You said a lot of things I want to touch on.
Yeah.
Talking about not getting too high, too low. There's a good quote. You're not as smart as you think you are when you're making money. You're not as dumb as you think you are when you're losing money. Something along those lines. I really like that. It's been my experience because, like, yes, man, post-COVID, the market was booming. I was like, dude, I'm the man. Like I've got this shit under wrap. Like we're good. And then it takes off. It's just like, no, we just handle what we can. Is what it is. But yeah, man, there's a lot of good stuff kind of all over the place. Matt, I didn't mean to cut you off if you got any questions or anything.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, no, it's kind of interesting too, and you guys would know this way more than me, but you're talking about going through the ups and downs. How difficult was it? Like, because you could be the best CEO in the world, but if you're managing 400 people, you're going to have people upset with you. Same thing with carriers when you're that big. I mean, you could have a carrier rep do something and then have some carrier blast you all over like Twitter. I mean, you can't really, and that's different from being an individual producer where you don't really have to worry about all the criticism. And I know you're talking about staying balanced. How is that, and like how do you go about that as a CEO? Because obviously you have to look at it to help, but also there's, no matter what you do in some situations, when you have 400 people or that many carriers, you're going to have piss off some people, and that's got to be a difficult to navigate. I'm just kind of curious on how you kind of go about that.
Yeah, I mean, not everybody's going to be happy with every decision that I make, every decision that goes down. And honestly, like, again, until 23, like everything was just on the up and up. We didn't have that many people till 21, then it just explodes. And then 23, it's like, there's a lot of decisions that were made that were rather poor, in my opinion. And yeah, that's a difficult thing to take on, and I think that it comes from a lot of, again, what I alluded to earlier is like just communication. Like it solves so much, and being very transparent and honest, even if the person doesn't want to hear what you're saying. Like that goes a long way. Whether they believe, like, not that they believe it, they just appreciate, again, if it's bad or good. It does keep me up at night just thinking about like people that aren't happy, but I definitely came to a realization and understanding that everybody's just not going to be happy with all the decisions I make, and that's okay. That's what makes this country so great, that if you don't love what I'm doing, like by all means, like go do it yourself. Like that's awesome. Like I love that some people would take that on. But it is a difficult challenge. And when I'm making decisions on a day-to-day basis, taking in a lot of opinions, it can be difficult sometimes. And I get some criticism within these walls of like how many opinions I let into the decision making, because it can alter how, like, which way we're going, left or right. So that's a difficult thing to navigate. But at the end of the day, I trust my team, and I make sure that everybody giving me their opinion is giving me it, in their best, not in the best interest of KCH, and in an honest opinion. Like I don't want yes men at the table. I want people to give me the honest, feedback. Like I don't tell me what you think I want to hear. And trust me, I got enough people telling me what they think I want to hear. Like I don't need that. I want honest, leadership team. And in my opinion, I've always said, like, if more people think that the decision is the right decision than the wrong decision, I try to simplify it down to that, then we're going to move forward. Whether I disagree or agree with it, like I'm not always right. So like, as long as more people think that decision is the right decision for where we're at and who we are and where we're going, then I'll roll with it. That doesn't mean that 100% think that that's right. That might mean 60% think it's right and 40% think it's wrong. And I'll deal with the 40 in an honest way like that. And it is tough. Like, listen, there is one thing I learned about leadership. Like it is, you might be really good at slinging some freight. Leadership's it's a whole different, like, psychological, like, thing to deal with. So
have you noticed that with, you have like a great freight broker and then you promote them thinking it will work in leadership, and then it doesn't work out, and then kind of a nightmare?
Oh yeah. One of the lessons we learned is like, we grew so fast from 21 to 23, if you will. And we had a motto for most of everything is like, we're not going to hire externally for leadership roles. We're going to hire, like, you're going to grow within the company. Like, we're not going to bring anybody else in. Everybody, if there's a leadership role, it's somebody that worked their way into that. Right. But when you go so fast within, from 40 to 400, you're moving people into positions in leadership roles that potentially aren't ready for them. And so, or I moved a lot of salespeople into sales management roles that you don't want to take your best player out of the sales game and put them in management. Usually, like, from a sales perspective, the best salesperson is probably not a great manager. So we had a lot of healthy conversations, like reversing our way back out of that. But yeah, I've put a lot of people like, man, you're really good at moving freight. Like, let's put you in management and just teach everybody else, like, how you move a lot of freight. And then they're essentially not great at managing people. And they'll tell you, like, I don't want to manage people. That just happened.
We did the same.
But yeah. I feel like a lot of people did the same.
Just gotta
learn from it. Like, yeah, I learned a lot from that. Like, so some people want to manage people. A lot of people, like, what's the saying? Like, the coach, like, the players are never the best. What I'm gonna mess this up, but the players are never.
I'm gonna mess it up too if I were to say it.
The players are never you don't see many head coaches that are like A+ players.
Yeah.
And the A+ players that are coaches are not great coaches. So, like,
yeah, that makes sense.
we haven't, it's kind of rare. It's been a fun conversation because we've talked about all types of things, but it's rare we have 3 salespeople and we haven't even touched on sales yet. So maybe as long as we're kind of on sales training, you guys obviously went, I mean, everyone knows it was a good time, but still to go from 40 to 400 people and just the growth, of KCH to get to a top 100 company, obviously, sales is a big part of it. What's kind of maybe, some sales training you guys do there, your kind of philosophy to sales that you think has helped you guys grow, or maybe just want to talk about sales in general a bit.
Sales is hard, first and foremost. I think a lot of people overthink it. So if I was to give anybody, I look back at like some of the things that I sent as a first time seller or whatever, cradle to grave. Like don't overthink it. I see a lot of, and I get a lot of messages from a lot of different companies, LinkedIn, email, whatever. And it's just full of a lot of stuff. And like, I think it's just like being real, like just be yourself. And that won't work every time, but when it does work, like it'll pay off. Trust me. And I had a customer that was pretty corporate-ish and very professional, if you will. And I just, I remember sending an email and being like, "What's up?" Whatever that person's name was, and my sales manager at the time was like, we don't like lead with what's up. And it's like, that's just who I am at the core. And like, if they don't like it, I just want to be real, like just a real interaction. And like, again, I'll lead back to it again. Communication is like, could solve like 99% of honestly all problems within these walls and outside these walls. And communication, if you take it from just like, that doesn't mean talking. That means listening. That means when you're asking questions, you're very intentional about what questions you're asking. And when they're answering them, you're very intentional about not just listening to the words, but what the words actually mean. I think we've lost that. Like, and sales is so gung ho on like the quantity of like getting the next deal and getting all that. They don't stop and like pause and be like, I just want a real connection. Like I would rather, we have like 30, 40 people in sales here at KCH. And I always say, like, I don't want 150 customers. I don't want you to like land 150 customers. I want you to land one that like you both have an understanding with each other. It's very, very, very intentional because it will pay off for not only them, but for us. Like that's the important part. And I think that's what everybody's missing. Like, and to me, it's like communication, like it's such a, I don't want to say 101 thing because there's a lot of people that miss it, but like, I don't think I'm like some genius. Like I'm definitely not. I'm not a genius. I just think communication. I over communicated. I was trying to be very intentional with how I communicated. I still have customers that think I moved their freight, and I haven't moved a load in 7 years. It's just like, just be very intentional. And I think salespeople lose that. They're so, I don't know, nervous or like scared to hit a quota or what have you. But I think that would pay off so much more for them in the long run. Don't bring me 30 customers. Like that doesn't make me happy. Bring me one that like you really can grow with. And I think now, like as KCH, it sits where it is. It's like, to be honest with you, we've been pretty transactional up until a year or so ago. And I wanted to get very intentional with like who our customers were. Don't bring me another 100 customers. Like, let's get very intentional with who we already have. There is plenty of business within the walls. We don't have to go outside the walls to get it. So just get more intentional with who we have. And I think that's just so lost. It's like on to the next deal every time. And if I could tell any salesperson, it's like, don't overthink it. Be yourself. And just be intentional. Like, just care.
Yeah.
It will pay off.
That's great advice. So, Logan, one of my partners, the way that he describes the sales thing, which sounds kind of similar when you're talking about people being maybe a little nervous. So for the most part, I don't want to say for the most part, but about half of our reps are new college grads, and it's almost like they're approaching it from an inferior spot, right? They're like looking up to like these adults with these like big boy jobs, and it's like they're asking the shipping manager as like one of their friends, like moms, for a sleepover when they're like 6, and it's just weird and uncomfortable. But I will say, so my own experience, I I got a broker job when I was 18, and I was really insecure about being young. Everybody around me was a decade plus older, and I was the same way. So like I made up this like fake persona, and my first customer thought I was like 45 with like a wife and like 4 kids. I worked with her for like 3 years, kept it going. I was like, yeah, like little Jimmy's dressing up as this for Halloween. And in hindsight, yeah, I mean, it was crazy, right? And what you're describing, right? Like just being yourself and connecting with people. It's not going to work every time, but the people on the other side of the phone are humans just like you, right? And I think that people have a tendency to, I don't know, man, maybe because it's an ass per se, but like put them on a pedestal and they're not talking to them like another person for a conversation, and it's just awkward and clunky. And then final note, a good book on listening, You're Not Listening by Kate Murphy. It's on my bookshelf right there, but it's talking about what you're talking about, listening. I know that was a lot right there, and I just kind of so Lisa, with the company I worked with, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry I lied to you about my wife and 3 kids, but yeah, we had a good thing going until we didn't. I left the company and somebody told her. I got her at this company, and she's just like, no.
I remember flying to see a customer, and I couldn't even rent a car.
Yeah,
and I had to call the like CEOs. I got to rent this car, and I showed up, and they're like, "Oh God, you're 22." It's like, yeah, what does that matter?
Yeah.
I went to they invited me to their house to do a cookout with them and their family. It was an awkward but real like relationship. Did I want to be there? I don't know, probably not. But did I go? Yeah. And did it pay off? They're still a customer. So like just being real.
Yeah, I had a Birmingham recruiter, which we don't do anything with them, but I'll get dinner with him every now and then. He's been in the industry for a while, so he's a good person to bounce stuff off of. And he's describing customer relationships at one point, and I forget all the levels, but like the layer that you want to be at, the final level was, getting invited to the customer's house for like a cookout, as like what he described. And the way he put it, it was like, I don't know, it was good the way he did it. I'm not going to try to recreate it. But the best level is like what you want, that connection, that relationship where they're inviting you to their house for a cookout.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Just real conversation, man.
Yeah.
Real relationship. It goes so far, and it's lost, to be honest.
Yeah.
You especially see it too. I'm sure you as a CEO see it all the time in your DMs on LinkedIn or your emails, just from different tech companies, recruiters, probably. You probably have a general idea kind of like what you're saying. It's gone, and there's a lot of bad sales outreach.
Yeah, like if you reach out to me, it's like I usually answer the 1 sentence like reach outs on LinkedIn. It's like, hey, what's up, dude? Just love following you or love hearing about KCH or whatever. And it's then the 99% of them are just full of garbage. Develop relationship. Yeah. So I don't know, just the real just communication again. Like I'll allude back to that. It's just like it goes so far.
Yeah, if it's a bunch of paragraphs and the DMs click into, it's like I'm
out.
Buddy, I'm not reading that.
You just don't open.
And that's who I am. Like if you ask anybody here, it's like, and we had a leadership. We bring in like all the leadership team twice a year, and the way I email, I'm not a big email guy. I'm like, just pick up the phone and call me. And if you have to email me, it's for reference for yourself or me. But like, I'm going to talk to you face to face. We're going to talk on the phone. Like, I'm just not a big email guy. But when I email, sometimes I just like email in subject line, and they're like, you got to get with the times, man. But it's like, that's just like who I am. I just want real. Like, I don't want to be something I'm not. And I want everybody to feel like that they can be who they are. And a big thing with leadership is just building those relationships. And it takes time, but to make sure that they're real with you. Like that's a big understanding. I don't want yes men, but having that relationship, very strong relationship would enable them to be able to not be a yes man. So we have to get to that point too, where they're comfortable. Cause I have, if I've had bosses, it's like, it's not easy to tell them no or like what you actually think against them. You have to have that relationship. So that's very important.
Yeah, that's a huge thing, especially if and when you're in charge of a bunch of people. I think that if you are in charge of a bunch of people and you have people that you're relying on, you probably know that the yes men, the people that are going to tell you how it is.
Yeah.
And if you're not careful and honest to yourself, first and foremost, you're going to find those yes men, and you're going to, because I've got them around. I've got the ones like, if I like the people I don't want to go bounce something off of, probably the ones I need to go bounce it off of. and have like an honest, candid conversation. What you're speaking to as far as, giving them the space to be able to be honest. Because for the longest time, I was like, man, everybody's a yes man. But really, no, I'm just like, dude, I'm wound so tight. I like snap on somebody. It's like they're not gonna be honest with me because
Correct. Yeah.
unhinged. So that's great points. Guys, I gotta go let the troops go. We get off at 4, so I gotta go do this end of week speech. Hunter, man, this was great. We really appreciate you coming on. I'd love to do it again at some point. We know you're a busy guy, but you're welcome anytime on the show.
Yeah, thanks again.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. So I'll jump on anytime. Let me know. All right.
Thanks again, Hunter.
Enjoy your weekend. Hey, best of luck with the baby.
Yeah, I'll keep everybody posted.
Yeah, let us know.
Have a good weekend. See you guys.
Enjoy it.
See ya.
All right.
That was fun, man. It was cool to have an episode. Like, obviously we don't plan these shows. We don't plan our questions. We just kind of go with the flow, but it was like a lot of mix of life and freight in that conversation, which I think was fun and kind of unique. We haven't had a show like that in a while. So it was fun kind of where the conversation went.
Yeah, well, it was more of he comes off very genuine, right? A lot of times if you get like a CEO or a heavy hitter of a company, it's almost like they're being very careful of what they say. And it kind of goes back to what he was speaking on with the communication just being real. That's the impression I got. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I learned a lot. I thought it was a good conversation. One of my favorite shows that we've done thus far. About 60 shows deep or something. I don't know. Yeah,
I was talking to somebody not in logistics today, and I guess I had never told him we did a podcast. And they go, "How many have you done?" I was like, "Yeah, well, it's over a year now. We're like 50, 60. Crazy how time goes." Shout out to our sponsors, Multi-Service Fuel Card, been around since 1978. Patricia and Jessica are great. They have cards for brokers too. YRB, we had them on the show. Great for AI, for screening your calls and a lot of other things. Go. Watch the episode we had with them recently. Great company. Black Box, Will's company, HD Ships, where I recruit agents for. Sales Dash CRM, Freight Specific CRM, Josh Lyles, Drew. They're absolutely phenomenal. And brought to you by Taft's, top 10 factoring company. Rob, Ryan, great service, great customer support. And we'll be back next week with another cool guest on Thursday.
All right. Yes, we will. All right, Matt. Well, I'm sure I'll talk to you soon.
All right. See ya.